Okay, that's testing one, two, testing one, two. I think basically yesterday, the other day, the video was primarily covering packaging, how to package goods, how to use your time wisely as someone that works a 9 to 5. And the one topic that talking to another fellow reseller that also has a 9 to 5, we'll kind of maybe we'll try to focus a lot of the time onto that element, because when you have a 9 to 5, you have to basically find these in between times in order to be able to increase your efficiency. You want to be efficient while on the court, like basketball terminology. Like you don't want to be out there. You almost need to be like Klay Thompson. If anybody knows Klay Thompson, it was a game where he didn't take more than maybe 3 to 5 dribbles the entire game. That's how efficient he was, and still scored at an amount of points that was absurd. 40 plus buckets that he got without taking much dribbles. He was efficient by using his time wisely, using screens, cuts, and so forth, putting himself in a position to be able to be a scorer. Once the ball got to him, he was able to score. Didn't need to do anything excessive. And sometimes that's what you need to do, because when you have a 9 to 5, generally your 9 to 5 doesn't start at 9 and it doesn't end at 5. It's generally getting up at the wee hours of the morning, 5:30, 6:30, and you're not getting home until 3, 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon. And this is, respectfully, not a lot of people get to, well, at least me, I don't get to work in the city that I live, so there is a commute associated with it. And I'm sure there's a number of individuals that would like to sell online, would like to sell, but they are like, I commute. How am I going to be able to source products, commute, do a good job at work, and make the sale? So that's where you have to be efficient with your time and utilize times, those in between times that you are able to have, because there's a thought around having 1,000 hours into something, or 10,000 hours. Basically, the concept of the book that was about 10,000 hours before you kind of master something. So that's kind of the concept I'm using for these videos. Basically just more videos, and then I'll get a better hang, or because now I have it in landscape mode, thankfully, so this should show up better on your TV or on your screen, I'm assuming. But basically 10,000 hours before you master craft. I would, and if you really were to break down 10,000 hours on a job, you might work 2,080 hours a year. 10,000 divided by 2,000, it's about 5, so 2,080. So a little bit over 4.5 years, you could master your craft, whatever job you are in a 9 to 5. How do you consolidate that when you're trying to sell online? You're trying to sell on eBay, you're trying to sell on Poshmark, you're trying to sell on Depop. That's for the younger people. Depop is a smaller menu that the younger people are using, because it's not a lot of friction. It doesn't require a lot. You can take a photo, put 3 words, and it might sell. So people are just using photos. It's kind of like the Instagram of online selling for the younger people. I've not gotten into it too much. I think my daughter, I had her she wanted to sell something, so I let her use that under my name, and she sold some shoes. But I didn't really like the platform, but I think it is a viable platform. I'm sure people are doing numbers on there, and I'm sure it's probably right now probably like Y2K. Y2K is any clothing that's from the early 2000s. Abercrombie and Fitch, Aeropostale, Eddie Bauer, Patagonia, those type of brands that may be applicable. You're like, oh, I had that in middle school, I had that in high school, I had that in elementary, depending on your age of those that watch. Those brands that you wore to elementary school, middle school, and high school for the 35 plus crowd, they are popular. They are selling online, and if it's original tags, you would be easily able to go into a thrift store and easily be able to tell, oh, that's an original tag and that's a newer tag. It's just the font, the style, the colorway, like an Eddie Bauer. I was in the store the other day. I saw Eddie Bauer. I kind of knew it was a modern Eddie Bauer, and then I saw another brand, and I knew that was an older one. It's just sometimes it's just the font on the tag. So utilize your skills and what you may know. Utilize if it's your age that you know. Like you know what was that you wanted to purchase at that time. Those things are now selling. But back to the 10,000 hours, when you're utilizing 10,000 hours to master a craft, whether it be me trying to just get a handle on the YouTube and trying to figure that out, but also utilize it when it comes to selling online in some capacity. You have to put in the work, and you have to just go out and get it, so to speak. Meaning like just go out and do it. So if it's like, oh, I want to list on eBay, literally sign up for the eBay right now. Press pause on the video and come back to my other videos in the future. Just like press pause and go to it. I'm not here to try to build up 1,000 people just to watch all my content. I want you to be able to take action and make a couple dollars to be able to, whether it be to fill up your gas tank, to pay your insurance, to pay your housing taxes, the quarterly taxes that are due, or semi-annual taxes, depending on what area you are. You may have some other things that you just can't, that are not tangible, that happen. You may get a ticket. You end up people that's in New York, I don't know if there's anybody on New York that might watch this video, they get a lot of tickets. Like we get in Northern California, they are very heavy on meters, so it's unlike the suburbs. You have to pay for parking when you're in the urban areas, and specifically Northern California, they really utilize those tickets to build revenue for the city. And you could have 1 minute left, they're right there on you. And so but you can use all of these things to make the side income to become, it may not become the main income, but during that time while you're building that side income, you are able to effectively gain that 10,000 hours. So you go from 0 hours in to 10,000 hours, and at some point within that period of time, you'll learn, you'll build, you'll grow, and you'll establish a style that you would like, or a style that is better for you and how you want to go about it. So it may be that you like to go to thrift stores to get your items. It may be on a Saturday as you're waking up, you take care of your responsibilities, you're driving around, you see a garage sale or a yard sale, an estate sale, and that's where you go. I've gone to estate sales. I would love to get back into estate sales, but unfortunately, generally, they're like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm generally tied up with life activities. But when I was able to go to an estate sale, I'll give you one example. I went to an estate sale, high-end estate sale, meaning the home was a person of wealth, I would say, because based on the structure of the home and the size of the home, and based on location. They could have been broke. I don't know. They might have been broke, but when they died, but at some point they had enough money to get that house. Nonetheless, people were worried about the art, people were worried about the dishes, people were worried about the furniture, people were worried about all these, and I looked around and I saw what I saw, and I said, oh, there was an older man that may have lived here, so let me look into the room. And generally estate sales sometimes it's no borders. You just kind of walk through a home and you're able to just, some things are tagged, some things are not. You just grab what you can and you bring it over to the people that are running the estate sale and see what they do. This home was definitely was in Northern California. Very nice, well established home. I figured everybody else was worried about art and furniture and these other larger items, and I just went into the closet and looked at the apparel, and basically he had various suits. I wasn't trying to sell suits at that time, but I did. That is the time that I was able to get used shoes. He had several used shoes, one of which was a designer brand, Gucci, some Gucci loafers. At that time, they were just a little bit too big for me, so What I was able to do, get those, I think I got those loafers for probably like about $10 to $15, men's size loafers. I brought them home, got a little shoe shine kit, shined them up, polished them up as best as I could, put them online. I'm sure it was so long ago, I think I sold them for maybe anywhere between $200 to $300. I'm thinking those loafers now, if I were to find that same, probably would still be $300 to $400 Gucci loafers, horse bit loafers. But that was just one item. How you can go about navigating. Okay, I don't like to go to thrift stores. The smell is too bad. I don't like to go to yard sales. Yard sales is just too junky. I don't like to go to flea markets. It's just too many people. But maybe you're an estate sale type person, and I don't go to this area for estate sales. I really only go to I only go in the hills, or only go into these certain neighborhoods for the estate sales. What you can do is you can go on to estatesale.org, and you can look at the various estate sales throughout the country and see if there are ones in your area. You would find the company. Once you find the company, then you would sign up for their newsletter, and from their newsletter thereafter, they would notify you of upcoming estate sales. Regardless of me going to an estate sale, I haven't been to one probably in maybe 3 to 4 years. I still get the newsletter for our estate sales, are both near where I work and near where I live. At some point, I'll be able to get back into that, since I am dibbling back into the used apparel market, and depending on where it is, I may be able to get some items from that I can resell in that fashion to add into it. But very easily, you go in, hopefully, bring a couple of dollars, bring some cash. Cash is no longer king, but cash is presentable, so you can just simply get $40, $60 out, keep that as your budget, anticipate doing a little negotiation. Whatever price you see, everything's negotiable. So you see something that says 30, do you mind me giving you 20? And you go from there. You don't hurt to ask. And you get 2 or 3 pieces from an estate sale that you went to for maybe 35, 45 minutes. You zip over there, it's near your home, or it's near where you're at. You're out here getting coffee, you're out here at the grocery store, you see a estate sale sign, pop in, take 10 to 20 minutes, put a timer on your clock, and you get in and get out. And that's the concept around not only using your time wisely, but valuing your time. But in that scenario, you're also gaining that 10,000 hours, because 10,000 hours, once at some point within those, when you're going from 0 to 10,000, you'll start to get the hang of what you need to look for and what works for you. And that is the concept around trying to establish that. And I've just been doing it for such a long time. Some of those things are second nature to me. So if I were to see a estate sale like this morning, I probably would pop in because I have a few minutes to do it, and we're talking about it. But otherwise, I probably would go buy it. But depending on where it is, and then you pop in. I don't know much about art, but I do know about vintage watches. I do know about model trains. I do know about tools. I do know about various clothing items, whether it be women's wear or men's wear. I do know about collector's items like trading cards, various dishes that you may look out for. Any dish from the 80s, that all those dishes from the 80s that your grandma had, your auntie had, that said, make sure you bring my dish back. Those are popular. They're hard to ship, but they're popular, and so forth. So this is just a quick video about using your time wisely. Continue on to try to get to that 10,000 hours as quickly as possible. Cut this video off and sign up for an eBay, a Poshmark, or Amazon. You can sell used goods on Amazon. We have to talk about that in the video. Some people don't realize that you can sell used items on Amazon. I've sold used items on Amazon. It's a little less competition in the used market on Amazon. It's not as many customers in that market, but there's less competition. So if you're selling used items on eBay, you can sell used items on Amazon. Trust me, some people are not aware of that. I've sold many items used on Amazon. Specifically, one item that was popular was those photo frames. I don't know if this was like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago at this point. The frames that you can basically hook up your phone to and download your photos to, and it constantly circles through all your photos, but in a frame at your home. So a lot of people like to have those around the home. They don't want to have one picture. They want to have a rotating picture, and you don't want to always have to bring out your phone to show pictures. So it kind of brightens up your home. So I think that's why it's popular. But at some point, Philips was making a lot of them, and I was finding them in almost new condition at the G-Dub. We talked about this in another video. The G-Dub is Goodwill. If you know, you know. Sometimes the Goodwill will be a good Goodwill. They have different varieties of Goodwills. Some Goodwills are a high-end boutique. We have a couple boutique Goodwills. We have a couple high-end furniture Goodwills. So they not each one is just made the same, but nonetheless, do not sleep on selling used goods on Amazon. So you have eBay, you have Amazon, you have Facebook Marketplace. That is one I need to dabble into because I've used Craigslist, but I think Facebook Marketplace may be the new way if you're not comfortable shipping something. If you want to just do the hand-to-hand combat, and hand-to-hand combat, we're talking about basically you want to be able to facilitate an exchange of goods. Generally, you probably want to do it in a public setting. Maybe at the grocery store. I see a lot of people at the grocery stores, at the local police stations, and so forth, doing their exchanges, whether it be for generally Facebook Marketplace, any item that you don't want to ship, or an item that's a little bit bigger that you no longer need around the home. But basically, do what you need to do in order to get to that 10,000 hours. And if you're able to get that 10,000 hours, working a 9 to 5 won't get in the way as much because you can easily spot and easily utilize your time in a wise way. But we'll continue on the series. We're going to continue to talk about printers that you can have, how to take photos, what to look out for every time an item comes to my mind, things that I've done, side hustles that I've done that have succeeded, things that have failed very quickly. Why I always been reselling is because that's been consistent. That's consistently. But I've tried to build websites. I've done affiliate marketing. I've done drop shipping and so forth. I've done the gambit of things, but always with reselling as the backbone, the baseline, and why I'm just kind of reinvigorating that, and then trying to really just document what I do on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, and so forth. So that's it. We'll see you in the next video.